guys, welcome to another episode of Formers Friday. Dirt here. You probably noticed that we had some hiccups with Formers Fridays the last couple weeks. Really what's happened is the Geek had some computer issues. So I stepped in the first week, did a rewind where you could see all those awesome Optimus Primes that came in the Beast Hunters stuff. But then last week I thought we would pull it out at the 11th hour, and we did not. So you just got a big fat bowl of nothing last week. So sorry about that. That's actually this guy's fault. My fault. So this week we're going to be taking a look at this Shattered Glass Soundwave versus Shattered Glass Blaster box set. I am filming this a little differently, doing the audio a little differently, so let me know if you think this is better or worse than what we usually do. Please leave a comment so we know how this comes out to you. But this box set was, I believe, an eHobby exclusive. This is an actual Takara Tomy product. If I can, there we go, right up there. You can see that it's actually a licensed product. And this is the Shattered Glass Alternate Universe. And it was basically a way for them to reissue a lot of the G1 figures just with new decos. And what you have are the heroic Decepticons versus the evil Autobots. And so we've got the red Decepticon symbol and the purple Autobot symbol, doing a palette swap on those to show who's heroic and who's evil. I've actually had this thing sitting on my shelf. I bought it like when it came out, and I've had it just sitting on a shelf thinking forever, oh, someday I'll do a video on that. Well, guess what? Today's the day! So, taking a look at this, you can see we've got some nice artwork on the front, kind of a comic book style artwork. Actually. And then I'm going to try to turn this around. This isn't real great to do in the photo tent because it is so big, and the photo tent isn't really made for it, so I got to watch out for glare and reflections and things like that. But here you can see some nice painted artwork on the back, and the text down here actually says that it is a world of heroic Decepticons and evil Autobots. So there you go. You can just see some of the palette swap characters in this artwork there. Looks pretty cool. I love when they did these big things. You know, you always used to see these on the G1 boxes. They have these great artwork of them in outer space having these huge battles and stuff. So good to see that on there. Now this is not going to fit in the photo tent when I flip it open. So I'm going to have to pick up the camera here, move it a little bit. You can see there are the different characters up top. I'm going to try to maneuver this so we get some light without a whole lot of glare. But you see we've got our Soundwave, our Ratbat, Slugfest, Solarbot, which we'll talk about him in a second. Then we've got Blaster, we've got Rewind, and we've got Ramhorn. And you can see them all here in the box, in that G1 style, that window box style. Decepticon versus Autobot. And then there's Solarbot with the giant question mark in the middle. So you can see when we look at these, Decepticon and Autobot, I don't read Japanese, but I can see that, you know, it's the same word in black there, same word in black there, same word in black. So that's got to be the Autobot, whatever term. There's the Decepticon term in the black box with all of those guys. And then we've got Mr. Question Mark guy right there in the middle. So is he a good guy or a bad guy? That's up to you. But a lot of Japanese up here, and then we've got tiny, tiny English right underneath. And if I had my quad focals on, I could probably read that tiny print. But I'm sure you can go online, TF Source or Transformers Wiki or someplace on there, and you can find all that information. But nonetheless, this is a neat, man, that glare. It's just hard to do in this tent with all these different lights. Trying different lights in different ways to see if things work out better. But we're going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to pull these guys out. And then I even have my G1s at the ready so we can do a little compare and contrast with these guys once we get them out of the box. So, thanks to the magic of video editing, we have our box open. And first thing we have is this nice little baggie of stuff. And what stuff do we have in our little baggie? Well, I'm glad you asked. We have, first of all, trading cards for all the different characters that are in there. Nice piece of character art on the front. On the back, you've got the alt mode and robot mode, and then a whole bunch of Japanese. You've got your scores on there for those of you using the data files. So all of that stuff is available, and at least Soundwave is a higher number than Blaster. But I think some of these numbers, everything Soundwave has should be better than Blaster's. I'm just saying. Question marks for SolarBot, all of his weird stuff. So anyway, trading cards, glossy on the front, very nice, high quality. Yeah, I don't know what this is. It's TakaraTomyFans.com. So there was probably some way of scanning your barcode, getting points, I'm guessing, and then you get rewards, because I see little gifts down here, little gift boxes, so that would have been nice. We have a whole bunch of stickers. Tribal tattoos. Okay, interesting. What is that? Sailor Moon? Like, I don't understand what that is. We got those. Zartan. Huh. Cold Slither. Interesting. So, somebody out there, I'm sure, understands why there's a Vinnie's Motors sticker, and why there's, I don't know what that is, but nonetheless, there it is. Someone out there, I'm sure, understands why all this stuff is here. I understand this green, probably the headband. They show Soundwave wearing a green headband, so that's probably put a headband around him. But I'm not sure on the rest of these, actually. But anyway, there, though, the fun thing are your palette swapped Decepticon Autobot. Alright, and then there's better be instructions, because if there's no instructions, I'm lost. Yay, instructions! Although, to be honest, I played with almost all of these as a kid, so I should know how to do all of them. Soundwave, of course, I know, and Blaster, of course, I know, but some of the cassettes, I'd probably figure it out without too much frustration. Although, you know, I am an idiot, so you never can be too sure. So, there's all of that stuff that was in the bag. I'm going to go ahead and slide those back in. And then, once again, using the magic of video editing, here is Soundwave. And Shatterglass Soundwave, as you can see, is pretty bright. You've got the white and bright blue, which of course is a big change from his classic look. And we'll bring out the classic guy in a minute. But first, let's just take a quick look at him. He is not the exact G1 version. This is the later reissue version. And you can tell because he's got the thicker cassette port here. Cassette tray, cassette spot. So it is a thicker one that you can put 2 of the cassettes in when they're in storage in there. So you can tell that this is based off the later release and not the original, but otherwise looks pretty good. The knob here spins. The knob on my G1 has never spun. I don't think it was supposed to, so that may be the other giveaway besides the big-breasted version here of Soundwave. We do have a heat rub symbol there, so that's cool. But everything else looks basically the same, and that is pretty cool. Again, I love these, palette swap ideas, these, redecos. And so I'm going to reach down to the box here. I'm going to pull out his accessories here. Everything's in this big crinkly plastic tray. Oh, you can hear that, I'm sure. That big annoying sound of having to pop the stuff out of the plastic. Alright, so now we've got his 2 blasters, which look like batteries when they're put into his compartment in the back, and of course the 2 accessory missiles. So we're going to take this one that does not extend, and we're gonna, well, I guess we're not. I was going to say, let's put the missile in, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't go in. What's up with that? Okay, not going to work. Well, let's try this one. This is the extender one. This is the one I always put in his hand with the little push button to shoot. Okay, that loads. Does it shoot? Okay, it shoots. Spring-loaded shot action. So that still works. So inexplicably, they won't fit in the shoulder one, which is bizarre. Oh, there. If I push hard enough, there it goes. All right. So there's our shattered glass Soundwave, and let's compare him to our original G1. Now, of course, the original G1, he's a little floppy. Had him for a long time, transformed him a billion times as a child, so you can see that he does kind of lean over a little bit. But taking a look at the two, it's obviously the same guy, just the reissue version, but he still looks really cool. Like, again, I love the palette swaps. So I love that the dark areas here are light on there, and the dark areas on here are the ones that were light on there. That's great, as far as I'm concerned. They did put a fair amount of stickers. Even though we have a sticker sheet with some additional things, you can see that the the different decals are there on the legs and the arms. It even has the little counter up in the corner set at 10. Whereas on this one, it's a plastic sticker. On that one, it looks like it's actually molded on and painted, maybe. Can't tell, but it looks like it's painted. Might be a sticker, but regardless, that looks like it has a little more depth to it than the one on the original. So it is nice. I just wish it didn't have this bigger chest piece. I've never liked that. I know some of you guys really do. I mean, you like the ability of putting more than one in there, especially because there's the scene in the, I believe it was the movie, where he opens it up and like 5 of them jump out of there, and you're like, well, that can't happen. There's never actually enough room. But regardless, I still love the look. I love the overall look. And I tell you what, we'll once again use the magic of photo editing, or video editing, I guess in this case. We can make them transform. And so now you can see side by side how they actually look. Now the one thing that jumps out to me right away immediately is the fact that there's no sticker that matches there. So that may be one of the things on that sticker sheet, are the stickers that are supposed to, I guess, be the speakers that those are. And of course, as a kid, I didn't stick them on quite right, and now it bugs the hell out of me for the rest of my life. But otherwise, you can see the record battery is still there. We've got the stereo micro cassette recorder. Although the font's been redone, it's not the original exact deco. It's been remade. And the record stop is actually printed on instead of being part of the deco. But otherwise, it is, same thing all the way around. And the one thing I noticed, though, is that this plastic is a whole lot lighter than this one. This feels a whole lot lighter, and I don't necessarily want to say looser, but it just feels like this will be much more worn out over time than this one, even though this one's, flopping already and it's having a little bit of difficulty standing. Nonetheless, I feel like this is going to break down a lot faster. Just does not have the same weight to it that this original one did. Although, I will give them credit, they still used metal for the feet, like on the original, so that is nice. Still gives it that, that classic G1 feel. And just for the sake of, just for the sake of testing here, I'm going to throw in that cassette. Yeah, the cassette fits fine. So yeah, this is based off, like I said, that reissue they did, I want to say mid-2000s Soundwave. Was it like the 20th anniversary, maybe, something? Where they made this one with the big chest. And I've got one of those somewhere. I might try to dig it out at the end of the video here. But nonetheless, still a cool figure. I still love Soundwave. Still one of my favorites of all time. So the palette swap version just is another awesome version of an awesome, awesome character. And here's our blaster. Now again, shattered glass, palette swap, reflection of the other one. You can see that if you've got an original blaster, your first instinct is, wow, that looks exactly the same figure, just a complete palette swap, redeco. And that's, of course, exactly what it is. Everything on it, though, straight up looks like the original one. And let's just go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and pull it in quickly. We don't need to spend as much time with the compare and contrast as we spent on Soundwave, because now you get the basic idea. You can see that, again, things that were a light color are now a dark color. Things that were red are now gray. Things that were gray are now black. The yellow is now blue. So it's like a negative image in a sense, although you can see the interconnecting parts are still black between them. But again, if you want to take a look at the figure from the side, you can see, again, we've got a little bit more of a big-breasted version of Blaster here with some extra space for an extra cassette in his chest. It's not as obvious on Blaster just because his look, it was never flat to begin with. It's still protruded out, so it just comes out a little bit more. It's not as obvious on Soundwave, who is naturally flat right across the front. So that is a difference that stands out a little bit less, actually, on this version. But you can see they still have the stickers on there for, the arms, various spots on the legs, of course, the Autobot symbol on the front. But otherwise, everything is the same. Even the copyright information on the back is the same, except this Blaster has something etched in him with some sort of code on there for whatever reason. I don't know, that may be just a factory marking thing that they do now, so you know which production line he came out of, and when it was done and everything like that, in case there were problems in the production line. So nonetheless, it is the same figure, still looks cool. So let's once again use the magic of video editing. But here are the alt modes. And again, identical, except for a little bit of extra chest on this one. The one nice thing about having a fresh Blaster is that the buttons actually work. Your play, your stop, and then your eject. They actually work on this one. I've actually taken this guy apart and tried to reset it and rebuild it, and it works okay. But not always. Sometimes you have to hit a different one in order to kind of loosen it up, and sometimes it doesn't want to go at all. So, thanks, Blaster. Right when we're on camera, all my friends are watching. You're ruining it. All right, so you can see it's the same mold, the same basic stickers. Although these, you can see they colored them a little differently, resized them a little bit, and that was something that they probably did again when they did this reissue. You got your heat-sensitive label on his crotch. Great place. That's what everybody wants to be rubbing on Blaster. And again, everything else on here, exactly the same. So, we're going to get into the cassettes here, but we're not going to do a comparison like we're doing with all of these. No, wait, what's that? Oh, right. The gun. I always use the gun as the antenna. I always have. It boggles my mind that there are people that don't do that. To me, if you remember having a boombox, a Ghetto Blaster back in the days, you always, whenever you went somewhere, you had to pull out the antenna and extend it up, and otherwise you wouldn't get any sound. So it just always seemed natural that, when you had one of these, you would just stick the gun right there in the back and it becomes the antenna. That's just, who doesn't do that? I've never, I just thought it's probably in the instruction manual somewhere. So anyway, all right, so let's go to the cassettes and take a look at those. And here they are. Here are all your cassettes. And, nowadays we know that when you buy any of these reissues with the cassettes, they come in a handy little cassette carrying case, just like your audio cassettes had back in the day. They have their labels on them that make them look like actual micro cassettes, even though they've got screws all over them and all those weird cuts and color changes. But nonetheless, there they are. Now, one thing I found interesting is that even though some of these are based on the same, robot mode, the stickers that are applied to them for their alt modes are actually different. So even though we're basically dealing with the same characters here, they do have different cassette markings on them, which is neat. And I don't know if that's exactly how they were back in the day or not. I never had all of the original old cassettes, but I thought that was a pretty cool thing they did. Now, of course, the one problem they have with alt mode on these cassettes are all these accessories. They all come with guns and missiles and rockets, and there's absolutely nothing to do with these things while they're in alt mode. Like there's no place to really stick them, to get them out of the way, to make them work. What I've been known to do with Ramhorn is with Blaster. If Ramhorn is the one that's in there, I just stick them on the back in one of those screw holes, and they hold on, pretty good there. But I mean, otherwise, I've always, and I know this is a nitpick. It's the same thing with Soundwave and his missiles. You can always, put the battery in the battery compartment in the back, and look, oh, it's a AA battery. But what do you do with these? And this is the same thing I always have with all these cassettes. What do you do with these? Like, I hate, like having all my accessories in a little Ziploc bag nearby so they don't lose them. And again, it goes with the cases. Once they're in robot mode, what do you do with the case? Because now you just have this like weird plastic thing. Now, there are inserts that you can put in that I've seen people print out. Paper inserts that slide into there that make it look like a cassette cover, and then you can turn them around. It looks like Energon cubes, and I've seen that happen before. So that's pretty cool. But I mean, for the most part, when you're dealing with this stuff, it just seems like it's like a neat idea in concept, but then actually making it work is something else entirely. But anyway, let me get, oh my gosh, these things are, I was hoping to just, transform these all nice and quick in front of the camera and be like, hey, look, cool. But there we go. Now, the same issues that you've always had with the cassettes are still there. On one side they look cool, and on the other side they look like some art project. They look like there's something from the planet of the Junkatrons, or whatever their name was. So all of those types of issues still exist, but for whatever reason, I've just always loved these things. Much like the little Headmaster guys that have alt modes with little robot things that they combine with. This, to me, it's kind of the same way. Even though that, obviously has all of those alt mode markings and they really don't do anything. They don't look like, on a regular Transformer, you could say like they look like tattoos or, something like that. This just looks wrong. But I don't care. I still like it. It's cool. Everything that you know about the cassettes is going to be the same here. None of that changes. We just have some neat little, palette swaps to deal with here. And what am I doing? I'm an idiot. What am I doing? There we go. All right. This is why I don't transform things on the camera, because I always come across looking like the world's biggest idiot trying to do these things. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, all you have to do is like this. But then once the camera starts rolling, I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, same issues exist that you've always had with dealing with these characters, and that is, stuff like getting his head out, get like, there's got to be like an easier, better way, and I don't know what it is. I've never known. Heads on these guys, I remember Rumble, having Rumble, and of course he never came with his little Rumble arms for making the earthquakes, but get out! Get your head out of there! Can't do it. So, again, all of those issues, everything that you've ever had problems with on these guys still exist, as far as, because they're reissues of the original. What am I doing? YouTube, why is this guy headless? leave me a comment and let me know. What the heck am I know I'm an idiot. I got it. Don't leave a comment on that. But how do I get the head out? Am I supposed to squeeze something or push something? Is there some way to make it unlock? Tell me. So, all of the frustrations and everything you had with the micro cassettes are going to be the same thing. Because again, they're just reissues. But seeing them in the funky colors, I like it. And I can't explain why. There is no good explanation as to why, other than it's just cool for me sometimes to see those palette swaps, and it just changes the look of something that I've been, familiar with my whole life. It's just like, oh look, here's a new way of looking at a classic character, and it is nice that we do get characters like Rat-Bat. Rat-Bat was one of those that you didn't see a whole lot. I actually had a Rat-Bat because I had a Soundwave, so I just made sure that I had a Rat-Bat to go with them, along with Laserbeak and oh my gosh, Laserbeak and the one that isn't Laserbeak. What is your name? I don't remember. Can't remember now. I can't remember his name, so I'm gonna feel terrible for a while, especially when I start getting all the comments. His name is blah 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 all the time from everybody who can remember, but not me, especially not right now. But anyway, so there you go. Those are the cassettes that go along with your Shattered Glass figures. So overall, I guess the question is the Shattered Glass box set worth it? Honestly, because of the tremendous price that it costs, I'm going to say for most people the answer is no. I mean, they're neat looking figures. You're getting the palette swapped versions of the originals, and it is kind of cool, but the box sets tend to go nowadays for about $200 online. If I paid that when I bought it, and honestly, I don't remember. I was an idiot. But it got something cool to do a review on, so I guess that's okay. But if I wasn't doing a review of it, I would not have paid that much money for it, to be honest. Now, the fact that you're getting two giant releases with Blaster and Soundwave, and the 5 cassettes, maybe $100 is something that's more in line with what you're willing to pay, but it's an exclusive. It's like a regional thing. You can get it at conventions or whatever. So I understand why it has a premium price to it, but overall, I wouldn't pay the $200 for it. That's just crazy. But since I already have it, then I might as well enjoy it. But again, I'm an idiot, so I'll waste money on stuff to make these videos. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. The Geek should be back next week. If he's still having some sort of problem, then I will jump back in and record another one. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to stop by popculturenetwork.com. Check out all the other great stuff we have. We've got 2 Masters of the Universe podcasts. We've got Formers Friday. We've got my comic reviews. We've got all sorts of stuff going on there. You can always go to our official Facebook group. It's actually run by fans. It's not run by us, so that's something interesting on there that you can go check out. Although we do, all of us, Damien, Killen, Scotty Cash, we all, post on there from time to time, so you can make sure to check that stuff out. You can check us out on Twitter. Of course, most of you are probably watching this on YouTube, so our YouTube channel, but nonetheless, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Dirt on me!